Types of sorts: bubble, insertion, and selection. A sort relates to how a program will organize data or records in a specific order. A sort can be conducted in different ways based on the needs of the users. So what we're going to take a look at in this video is three different types of basic sorts which can be used to rearrange data within a program. So the first one we'll take a look at is a bubble sort. And a bubble sort repeatedly navigates through a list of data, swapping adjacent elements into a specific order on each cycle of the sort. And what we mean by adjacent elements is elements that are next to each other. So it compares the actual data to the next piece of data next to it, determines which one's higher and lower, and then swaps them if need be. So let's illustrate that now. Okay, and here I have my 5 numbers which have been unsorted. So in the case of a bubble sort, it would start at the 2 and compare it to 1. Now, 2 is bigger than 1, it's going to swap it. It will then go through in another cycle, and the next one it will notice is 5 and 4. Now, 4 is obviously less than 5, so it's going to swap those two. It would go through another cycle. It will now look at 5 and 3 and know that 3 is smaller than 5. And although it's got now to the end of the actual data, it will cycle through again now and pick up that 4 and 3 are not the right way around and rearrange them as well. So it constantly cycles through the actual list and looks at what is out of order. And because it's always swapping the items two at a time with each other, it obviously needs to continually revisit, okay, and doesn't see it as kind of a whole list. It's looking for inconsistencies between the lists and making those swaps accordingly. So that's a bubble sort. The next one is an insertion sort, okay, and this sort builds a separate sublist to sort data apart from its original unorganized location. Repetition is used here once again, constantly going through the list and looking and comparing values together. But in this case, the value that is selected in the actual unorganized list, okay, will be inserted into the sorted list where it specifically needs to go. It goes through all the values of the unorganized list in sequence, and then when they go into the sorted list, it inserts it into that sorted list, pushing the larger values to the right, okay, so that the number can go into its correct location. All right, so we'll illustrate that one now using the same exact numbers. And here is my sorted list. So I've got my unsorted values and then I've got my sorted list. So we're going to go through it in sequence. So 2 will be brought down first, and then the next number we'll look at is 1. Now 1 goes before 2, so 1 will be moved down, 2 will move to the right. The next number from the unsorted list will be 5. 5 will be moved down, okay, because it is bigger than 2. But now, obviously, 4 is less than 5, so 4 will be inserted before 5. And then our last number of 3 is obviously less than both 4 and 5, so it will be inserted there. So that's an insertion sort. So we're inserting numbers into their correct location in the sorted list as we go through our actual unsorted list. And then obviously by the end, we've got our sorted list and the numbers in the correct order in the sorted list once it's concluded. The final type of sort we'll look at is a selection sort. So this time we're cycling through a list once again, but what it's doing this time is finding the smallest value and moving it to the front of the list into a sorted section. Okay, and then it will continue that process, continually moving the new lowest number to the front of the unorganized list until there is no unorganized numbers left and all the numbers have been selected and sorted. All right, so what this means is I've got my same numbers once again. So in this case, it will take a look at my 5 numbers and it will go, well, 1 is the actual lowest number in this case, and it will move it to the front of the list, and that is deemed sorted. Okay, it will then look for the next lowest number, and that's actually already in its location of 2. 2 now is moved to the front of the unsorted list, which is where it already was, and is now locked in. The next lowest number is 3. It gets highlighted and moved to the front of the unorganized list. Following that would be 4. It gets moved, and then 5 is obviously in its correct location now. So that is a selection sort. It finds and selects the lowest value, moves it to the front of the unsorted numbers, okay, and then progressively does that to every number until eventually all of them become sorted and they're all in their correct location. So I hope this video has given you understanding of the different types of sorts that can be used in basic programming. There are more advanced sorts that are much more efficient for larger groups of numbers, but these are the basic ones we kind of start off with, okay? So for bigger programs, probably not as efficient, but for basic programs and understanding how to program sorts, bubble sort, insertion sort, and selection sort are a great place to start. So just understand bubble sort swaps values with their adjacent values and repeats this until all values are sorted. An insertion sort builds up a sorted list and then inserts numbers where they need to go in a sequential order based on the sorted list. And a selection sort finds the lowest value within a group of data, moves it to the front, and then progressively does this to all the values within a data set until all values are deemed sorted, and they should all be in correct order based on sorting it from the lowest numbers to the highest numbers.